Hello fellow creatives, this is Ann at the Scrappy Scribe. This will be a process video for John chapter 10 verse 9, and it is day 1 of On the Brink from By the Well for God. First, I like to select just a couple of things to get the creativity flowing. So I selected this pink floral paper and a couple of door stickers and my highlighter that matched from Mr. Pen. And so I go ahead and highlight the verse, chapter 10:9, I am the door. Anyone who enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. I like these pens, they don't bleed through the back. I also like to go ahead and look and see if there's any other verses that I want to highlight while I'm doing my journaling. And so I went down to verse 14 that says, I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me. Now, I don't always necessarily journal additional verses. My focus is usually on one, sometimes a couple, but this one particularly on Jesus being the door. I like to go back in sometimes with my Uniball pen and just kind of square out the main point, which in this verse is, I am the door, and Jesus is speaking here. Then what I wanted to do was I wanted to have a torn edge on my paper. So I carefully tore around the flowers that I wanted to use. And if you've not torn paper before, one thing to remember is that the piece that you pull towards you, the torn edge will be on the back. The piece that you push away from you, the torn edge will show on the front. Whatever the color of the paper core is, in this case it's white, that's the color that's going to show along the edge. So once I get that torn, I figure out kind of where I want to lay that. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the scrap piece, and I wanted to stamp the chapter and verse numbers out on the matching paper. So I go ahead and do that. And I like to clean my stamps as I go. So I have a little bottle of stamp cleaner that I can just rub on them, and then I rub them on a cleaning pad. And that way I don't forget to clean my stamps. So it just goes really well that way. I did speed this up just a little bit. Once I get these numbers stamped out, then I go ahead and start trimming. And the trimming takes a little bit. So I have not included all of that in the video. You'll see that I sped that up quite a bit. I don't want to bore you with all the cutting. But I do like to go ahead and get the numbers cut out. And then I did take a little bit of ink and just kind of darkened the edges a little bit, just to make them stand out a little bit more on the page. Trimming does take a little bit, so I sped this up. I didn't want to bore you with all of the cutting as I went through and got these numbers all cut out. Next, I'm going to take this piece and go ahead and glue it down because it's my main background. And if I have a piece of paper that goes right to the corner of the page, I like to go ahead and corner punch it so that it lines up right at the corner. And then I went ahead and glued, and I did leave a little section on the torn paper side where my hand is there that I did not put glue because I wanted to have a little secret pocket to put there in case I wanted to add like a prayer or just a private note, some thoughts, something like that. And then I went ahead and got my numbers positioned and decided which sticker I wanted to use to continue that line down the right hand side. I didn't like the abrupt stop of the paper there, and I wanted to have something that balanced it out and made it flow down to the edge of the page. So I inked up the edge of this architectural door from a Tim Holtz collection, I'm not sure which one, and then stuck that down and then went ahead and lined up my numbers here. So once I get those lined up, then I go ahead and start gluing them down. And I take my time on this because I want to get the spacing just right, and I want that 9 to have the torn paper edge in the center of it. So you'll see me kind of playing with that there a little bit until I get it where I want it. And so again, I've got this sped up so that I don't bore you with this time frame that it took me to do this. The hardest thing about doing these voiceovers is just recording stuff like this in real time and then trying to break that time down into something manageable so you guys don't get bored partway through or 5 minutes in where I haven't gotten very far. Those corners get trimmed off. You can see there they're trimmed. And then I have this tissue paper with the birds from Tim Holtz, and I wanted to put that down, but I only wanted a portion of those birds. So again, remember, what you pull towards you tears differently than what you push away from you. Now, tissue paper will tear much faster, and so you have to go slow. And the best thing to do anytime you're tearing paper is to lay your fingers down against the part that you're going to keep and use your thumb or your fingers to guide the shape that you're tearing out. So you can see that I have my fingers very close together as I'm tearing, and I keep moving my thumbs to cover up where I want the edge to go. So I'm working around the leaves and the birds until I just get that one little section with the 2 birds done. And then once you cut it out, I think with this one I had a couple of spots that I felt were sticking out too much. And so I did go back and tear a little bit more off that I did not leave on the video. Just to show you where that little pocket is, right there, I have a little pocket. Now I'm not putting that piece there, but I just wanted to show you that I have a little pocket there. I'm using clear gesso on the back of this. It's a great way to glue down things like this. I will say that it definitely does wrinkle your Bible page. And in hindsight, I probably put a little bit too much on this one. I should have also kept it very focused just to the tissue paper birds. Once I got it positioned and got it laid down very slowly and carefully, then I went ahead and I put some more clear gesso on top just to make sure it was glued down well. And I probably should have just gone right to the edge of the birds and stopped. But I did go beyond the birds, and you can see that kind of crinkle on the left-hand side there. So just getting that all glued down. I stuck my fingers under my little pocket there to make sure I didn't accidentally glue it down because I wanted that to remain a place where I could slide something in. I used the blow dryer to dry this, and I like to use my hand to kind of smooth the page out and hold it flat as I go, just to try and eliminate some of that crinkling. The crinkling is just going to add texture, and if you do the page on the back, you can always do the back of it with a sheet of solid paper glued on. So there's always ways to get around the crinkles. Next thing I did was choose which letters I wanted to use, and I'm trying just to match to the greenery a little bit. Now I have this little door ephemera that's from the On the Brink kit, so I'm just trying to figure out positioning, and I don't glue that down yet because I like to get my letters on there first. So I am starting with the top portion, and I'm trying to get my page flat and get those crinkles to smooth out a bit. So at the top here, I am just putting I am, and you can see that I did speed this up. I am like a perfectionist. I don't know if that's a great thing to be with Bible journaling, but I wanted my letters to be as straight as possible. I don't draw with a ruler to make them straight, but I eyeball it, and I just like to try and get my spacing right. I did move my R to the left just a little because, like I said, I have a little pocket there, and if I put something in there, I want it to be able to stick out just a little bit. Once I got those letters down and I liked where they were, then I smoothed them out, and I went ahead and put glue on the back of the ephemera card and then laid it down. I like to pick things up with my tweezers when they have wet glue on them because then I don't inadvertently get glue all over my page with my fingers. And then I took the Distress crayon from the Tim Holtz collection, and I just wanted to give it a little bit of distressing around that card. And these are watercolor crayons. So I know there's lots of other brands of watercolor crayons that you can use, so you just use whatever you have. And then I use my water brush, and this is not a perfectionist technique here. I am just trying to be kind of messy with this and just make it kind of like, I guess what I was thinking is kind of like the wood timbers of door frames and things like that. And that's not really like, I'm not really drawing timbers around it, but I just wanted it to have kind of that effect. And then once that dried, I went ahead and started writing with my Uniball pen in brown, and I put the door. And after looking at that a little bit and deciding what else I wanted, I went ahead and decided to put kind of a wide outline and leave some space around each of those letters. So I went ahead and did that. And once I got that done, I'm not being neat about this at all. This is definitely quick and sloppy, and I kind of wanted that look. So I hesitated on whether I wanted to do the word door, but since I'd already done the other letters, I decided I wanted to make them consistent. So I did the same thing there. And they're not evenly spaced. The lines don't even always touch each other when I pick up my pen. I wanted those numbers to pop just a little bit. So I went ahead and put a shadow just on one side. And I had to turn it upside down because I was putting the shadow on the left-hand side of the letters. And I'm right-handed, so just a little trick there. Especially if you're going against something dimensional on your page. If you try to do the opposite side, chances are your pen is going to skip and leave a squiggle outside where you want it. So if you turn it so that if you're right-handed, you're facing it, or left-handed, you're facing it, then it just makes it easier to put that little shadow there. And then I wrote John for John 10:9. And then at the top, I went ahead and added a little bit because it was kind of blank up there. So I put enter by me, I am the door. Please be sure to click the like button. And if you have not subscribed to the Scrappy Scribe, go ahead and click that subscribe button to know when a new video comes out. Thanks for watching and have a blessed day.